Greetings, children. Welcome to my channel, Inside Accountancy by Shakun. Today we'll be talking about Chapter 5, Admission of a Partner, and the contents of this video will be the various adjustments which are required at the time of admission of a partner, the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities, and example based on it. The various adjustments which are required at the time of admission of a partner. Why are they required? Because whenever a partner is admitted, it leads to the reconstitution of the firm where the partnership agreement changes. It leads to the dissolution of the partnership but not of the partnership firm. So certain issues have to be addressed. What are those issues? We need to determine the new ratio and the sacrificing ratio. When the new partner gets admitted, he gains and the others sacrifice. The treatment of goodwill, that is the PFG that is brought by may be brought in cash or may not be brought in cash or may be brought in kind, and there are a lot of cases. The treatment of reserves and accumulated profits, how they are to be written off at the time of admission of a partner, the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities, and the adjustment of capital in the new ratio. We have already talked about the first three in my previous videos. For more details, you can click on the I button. It has been talked about in detail, explaining all the important cases and all the treatments. Moving on, today we'll be talking about the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. Revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. Now, the value of assets and liabilities, they may be different from their book values because of time, because there may be some kind of increase or decrease. In case of liabilities and assets, both these things are possible. It is also possible that some assets or liabilities are not recorded in the books and now they need to be recorded. The value of assets and liabilities payable should be brought to their current values so that the incoming or the new partner is not put to any advantage or disadvantage because of the change in values. That is why the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities is done before the admission or at the time of admission, and the gain or loss arising because of such revaluations is distributed between the old partners in the old ratio. Now, this change in the value of assets and liabilities is adjusted through an account which is titled revaluation account, or we can also call it profit and loss adjustment account. So any increase in value of assets, recording of unrecorded assets, decrease in amount of liabilities, they are all credited to revaluation account, and any gain or loss arising is distributed between the partners in their old ratio. Now let's talk about the various journal entries. The journal entries would be, there will be certain journal entries for assets. Now, if you look at the value of assets, there will be either an increase in the value of an asset, or there will be a decrease in the value of an asset, or there might be certain unrecorded asset which is not recorded in the books of accounts at all till date. So these three circumstances might be there relating to assets. Now, in case of increase in the value of an asset, if the value of asset is increasing, assets always have a debit balance, right? So assets always have a debit balance. That is why asset account is debited and this increase is transferred to the new account, that is revaluation account. For the decrease in the value of an asset, since the increase in the value of an asset was debited, the decrease will be credited. So therefore, the decrease in the value is credited to asset account and debited to revaluation account. For recording an unrecorded asset, unrecorded assets are those assets which have not been shown or which have not been recorded in the books of accounts yet. So unrecorded asset, in other words, would mean an increase in the value of an asset. So therefore, asset account is debited and it is transferred to revaluation account. Moving on, the journal entries for liabilities can be for increase in the value of liability, or for decrease in the value, or for unrecorded liability. Now, liabilities always have a credit balance. Therefore, increase when the liabilities is increasing, liability account is credited and it is transferred to revaluation account. For decrease in the value of liability, since liabilities have a CR balance, any decrease will be debited. Therefore, liability account DR to revaluation account. Now, any unrecorded liability would mean that there is an increase in liability. Therefore, liability account is credited and revaluation account is debited. So after you show the increase or decrease in the values of assets and liabilities, there will be certain amount of profit or loss when we try to balance the revaluation account. In case of profit, as you very well know, that the profit balancing figure always comes on the debit side. The profit always comes on the debit side. That is, if the total of credit side is more than the total of debit side, it leads to net gain or profit, and therefore the entry would be, since the profit comes on the debit side, so revaluation is debited, and since the partners are receiving such profit, therefore partners capital or current account is credited. In case of loss, that is, if the total of debit side is more than the total of the credit side, it leads to net loss, and in case of loss, the revaluation account is credited, and since the partners need to bear it, therefore partners capital or current account is debited. So these were the journal entries relating to assets, liabilities, and the profit and loss. Moving on, there can be certain extra entries, certain adjusting entries for expenses on reconstitution of the firm. Now, there are certain expenses which may be incurred by the firm in order to give effect to the change in profit sharing ratio. Now, these expenses, they may be incurred such as remuneration to partner or any kind of payment made to any outside party for rendering any services. So at the time of reconstitution of the firm due to change in profit sharing ratio, a firm may bear certain expenses. Now, regarding the expenses also, there are certain entries. Depending upon the case, we'll pass the correct entry. When remuneration is paid to the partner. Now, when a partner is given certain remuneration to carry out the expenses of reconstitution of the firm, then the remuneration for the firm is an expense. It's a loss. Therefore, revaluation account is debited. New account is not created here. Please note, remuneration has been debited to revaluation account. Since it is a loss, we are not creating a new expense. And since it is paid to a partner, therefore concerned partner's capital account is credited because partner is receiving such remuneration. The second case may be when expenses are borne by the partner but paid by the firm. See, always remember that whoever bears the expenses should be debited. So in this case, expenses are borne by the partner. So that means partner bears the expenses. Therefore, partner's capital account is debited. And whoever pays the expenses should be credited. Who is paying here? It is paid by the firm. So firm, if pays any kind of expenses, they may be paid out of cash or bank. So that is why concerned partner's capital account is debited because the partner is bearing the expenses, and cash in bank is credited because it is paid by the firm. So remember, the person who bears is debited and the person who pays is credited. Moving on to the third case, when expenses are incurred and paid by the firm. So that means it is borne by the firm and it is paid by the firm. I told you, in case of borne, the particular account is debited, and in case of paid, the particular account is credited. So since it is paid by the firm like in the previous case, so cash in bank is credited, but it is borne by the firm also. So it's a loss for the firm. Therefore, revaluation account is debited in this case. So either of the one case may be given in the question. So depending upon the case, you have to apply the journal entry. So these were the few journal entries regarding assets, increase and decrease, liabilities, increase and decrease, and the expenses which are borne either by the firm or by the partner. Moving on, let's have a look at the specimen of revaluation account, or we can also call it as profit and loss adjustment account. Now, if you look at the journal entries, if you remember the journal entries that we passed, your entry for increase in asset was asset account DR to revaluation. So asset account DR2 revaluation, when posted in revaluation account, it will be posted on the credit side. Since it is an increase, it is posted on the credit side. Similarly, the decrease in asset, the journal entry would be revaluation to asset. So therefore, revaluation is debited in the name of asset. That's why it's posted here. So all the accounting entries that we just learned, we can do the posting from those entries, or else we can also remember that decrease in asset and increase in liability is always shown on the debit side, and increase in asset and decrease in liability is shown on the credit side. Another hint for you, if you remember just the debit side, the credit side will be the opposite of it. Like if you remember that on the debit side you record the decrease in asset, if you remember just this much, the rest can come to you automatically. So if it is decrease in asset on the DR side, so obviously the liability would be the opposite, that is increase in liability. And if there is decrease in asset here, so obviously increase in asset will be the on the credit side. Increase in liability here, so therefore decrease in liability will be on the credit side. So this increase or decrease you can either remember by posting from the journal entries, or you can remember it like this also, that the decrease in asset and increase in liability is shown on the debit side. Now, any unrecorded liability again is an increase in liability shown on the debit side. Unrecorded asset, again increase in asset, is shown on the credit side. Now, any partner who bears certain expenses is shown here, or if the expenses are borne by the firm, then also the expenses are shown here. Then we do the balancing of revaluation account. Either profit or loss may appear. So the profit on revaluation will be transferred to partners capital account. The profit will be the balancing figure on the debit side. When the credit side is greater and the debit side is lesser, then the balancing figure will be profit. On the other hand, if the debit side total is greater than the credit side total, then the balancing figure will be loss. The profit or loss will be distributed between the partners in the old ratio. Since these revaluations of assets and liabilities relate to the period before the change in profit sharing ratio, so they are always distributed in the old ratio. Now let's take an example. A and B are partners sharing profit and losses equally, that is 1:1. They admit C into partnership for 1/5 share in profits. Pass entries in firm's journal for the following and prepare revaluation account on the admission of a partner. So the entries that are given are unrecorded investment exist of 5,000 now to be accounted. So unrecorded investment means that this is an investment which has not been recorded in the books till now and now has to be recorded. This is an increase in asset. A creditor of 600 will not be claimed, hence to be written back. Now this means there was a creditor of 600 which will not be claimed now. Therefore, we have to write it off in the books of accounts. So basically, this is leading to a decrease in the creditors, decrease in liability. Unrecorded liability towards suppliers for 1500 are to be accounted. Again, this is an unrecorded liability which is now to be recorded. So therefore, the entry for increase in liability will be passed. The value of furniture to be increased by 10,000. So this means the furniture is to be increased by an amount of 10. So it is an increase in the value of furniture. So the first one is increase in asset. The second one is decrease in the value of creditors or decrease in liability. For the third one, it is increase in liability. And for the last one, it is increase in the value of asset. Now let's have a look at the solution. Our journal entries would look like this. Now firstly, the investments had to be recorded in the books. It was an increase in the value of an asset. So asset should always be debited in that case. Therefore, investment account has been debited and the amount has been transferred to revaluation account. Then creditors were not not claimed and hence had to be written back. Therefore, creditors account is debited because this is a decrease in the value of liability. Therefore, creditors is debited. Now we are writing them off. Therefore, we are debiting them and it is transferred to revaluation account. The third entry was unrecorded liability towards supplier for 1500 was to be accounted. So leading to increase in liability. Therefore, revaluation to sundry creditors. Increase in liability is always credited. Then the next entry or the last entry was regarding the increase in the value of furniture. Furniture is an asset. Increase is always debited. Therefore, furniture to revaluation. So these were the 4 entries that we passed. Now, the last entry will be passed after passing all these entries and calculating the profit on or loss on revaluation. Now, you can prepare the if in the question the revaluation account is not asked, then you can do it like directly also. Otherwise, you prepare the revaluation account and find out the profit or loss and then pass the entry. Now, if we directly want to do it, if we directly want to calculate the profit, you can see that the revaluation account has a credit balance of 5,000 here, 600 here, and in the 4th entry, 10,000. So total amount on the credit side is 15,600 and total amount on the debit side is 1,500. So the difference obviously is on the debit side, hence it is profit, which is distributed between the partners in their profit sharing ratio, which was equal. Now please note that in the first transaction, in the second transaction, and in the 4th transaction, revaluation account is credited. So in order to save time, because accounts paper is always lengthy, in order to save time, you can combine the transactions. The first, second, and 4th transaction can be combined into one, that is investment account DR, sundry creditors account DR, furniture account DR to revaluation 15,600. So if we combine, then we'll pass only 2 entries for revaluation. One will be where revaluation account is credited and the other when revaluation is debited. And obviously the profit entry has to be passed. Now let's have a look at the revaluation account. I've just done the postings of the entries that I passed. Or other than that, if you don't want to do the posting, you can remember that on the debit side, we record decrease in asset and increase in liability. So since the creditors were increasing by 1,500, I've posted on the debit side. On the credit side, we record increase in asset and decrease in liability. Investments and furniture were increasing, so therefore written on the credit side, and creditors were decreasing, therefore written on the credit side. Then when we do the balancing, our balancing figure is 14,100, which is divided between the partners in the equal ratio. So this was all about this question where journal entries were required and the revaluation account was prepared. So in this video, we have talked about the various adjustments required at the time of admission of a partner, the revaluation and reassessment of assets and liabilities by preparing revaluation account and distributing the gain or loss between the partners in their old ratio, and along with certain examples.